everybody, how's it going today? Thanks for watching. We're cutting alfalfa here today, third cutting. I didn't do any filming in the tractor because it's plenty wet out here. We've had a lot of rain the last 2-3 weeks. Oh, and I've got a dog joining me here. But wanted to show you guys this alfalfa. The plan was to cut our sorghum Sudan grass last week, but it's been, yeah, like I said, nothing but rain. And it seems like every time we get rain, it's more than a ½ inch. And the priority right now is to get this alfalfa off. So, I mean, the ground is damp, but we're not leaving any tracks with the tractor. I did cut an extra headland, so I went 4 times around just to give us some more room to turn. And we're just taking our time turning, because that's really the only spot we're really chewing it up a little is when we're turning, and then around some of the low spots in the field. But looks like a decent crop, quite a few flowers out here already, which kind of surprises me a little bit. I wonder if it was quite hot here last week, so I wonder if the heat and then it cooled off really quickly, so I wonder if those two things combined kind of brought these flowers out more quickly than normal. But looks kind of uneven, but some of it's laying down too. And I don't know if that's because we've had so much rain or from some of the storms that had quite a bit of wind. There's a lot of mosquitoes out here. Holy buckets. I'm gonna make my way back to the truck. But Sam had come to take over from me. I did some of the headlands here yesterday evening because I wanted to see how the field looked. And then when the dew was off this morning, I started going again. But the plan is to chop this tomorrow. It's not going to be very hot today. This whole week is just highs in the high 70s, which is awesome for the cows, but not good for drying down alfalfa. And I'm sure you guys can tell, but it's quite smoky again with the smoke from wildfires out of Canada. So that doesn't really help the sun come out too much either. So we'll see how it looks here this evening, but the plan is to chop this tomorrow and then mow our sorghum Saturday. And that's probably going to need a couple of days at least, because that sorghum is it's chest high right now, which is not what we wanted. But this alfalfa will drop in quality a lot quicker than that sorghum will, and we kind of need to stay on a cutting schedule with the alfalfa because we'd like to get another cutting here late August, early September. So, and that's not as critical with that sorghum since it's just the 1-year crop. And when I say sorghum, I mean the Yield Max sorghum Sudan grass Italian ryegrass mix. Now my pickup's full of mosquitoes. They are bad. But that's the plan. We'll get this mowed here. I'm a little past half, so Sam should get done here in a couple hours, maybe 2.5 hours. It's about 170, 180 acres. It's the next day. We're chopping alfalfa at the moment here. They're, I don't know, about half-ish done, I suppose. I did go to the field. I wanted to see how far they were, so I did fly the drone there just for a couple minutes. But I thought I'd walk out into the sorghum field here, the Yield Max field, kind of show you guys what it looks like. So where I am, we're just south of the yard. So our corn silage pile's over there. And it's, I mean, if you pull the leaves up, they're just as tall as I am. So we're about 6 feet tall here, essentially. And I mean, this stuff needs to come off. There's it's Friday today, chance of rain on Monday. So we're kind of debating. Plan was to finish chopping the alfalfa today, cut this tomorrow. But now I'm kind of debating on if we should do that or not. I mean, it needs to come off. So look down here, there's good amount of ryegrass too, but that ryegrass is gonna want some sunlight here pretty soon. It's not too wet here, but the ground is damp. But there's a few spots in this field that I know are gonna be plenty wet. And the problem is with all this coverage on it, the sun and the wind can't get to it all, so it all has to soak into the ground essentially. Where with that alfalfa field, not that a lot of sunlight hits the ground, but it dries out a lot quicker than this will. So I'm a little concerned that we start cutting this, we're gonna make a little bit of a mess, but not sure if we have much of a choice at this point, because it's, yeah, it's quite tall, and we need to try to get some quality out of it yet. So we'll probably have to decide here at some point today. Just keep watching the forecast, I guess, to see if it changes any, but seems like the last month or so, anytime we've had any chance of any decent chance of rain, it's rained, and it hasn't rained just a little. It's been a ½ inch or more, and that's kind of concerning too, because if we cut this and we get a ½ inch plus of rain on it, with how much mass is here, that's gonna take, it's gonna be difficult to get it dry again at that point. But it is what it is, just have to deal with it. We'll probably end up cutting it. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, and then we'll just have to see what Mother Nature gives us. But it's like a jungle out here almost. Should make some really nice feed if we can get it put up good. Saturday afternoon here now. We covered that alfalfa pile this morning. It's a little windy out here. Hopefully you guys don't get too much wind noise. Covered the alfalfa pile this morning, and then got the mowers put on, and starting to mow this sorghum. I was a little worried that we were gonna make a mess out here with how wet it is, but in general it's actually going not too bad. We are leaving some tracks around some low spots. I'll maybe show you guys. I will drive around, and we are going to leave a little bit of this standing where there's water standing. but the sorghum and the grass are not great there anyways. But thought I'd show you guys the crop here as we're mowing it off. So you can see this is the ryegrass, this is the sorghum, and I'm a little concerned because the sorghum is so tall. I've got the mower set about as high as I'm comfortable going, because if you can change the cut height by pitching that mower forward and back, and I'm pretty much almost sitting kind of uphill a little already, and then you can have trouble with it cutting because it can start bouncing too much. And with how wet it is, I increased the up pressure, so you can adjust how much, you can essentially adjust how much down pressure that mower has on the ground by raising the pressure off of the mower. And I did raise that up about I think it was 5 psi or so, just so that we're not pushing on the ground so hard with it being wet. And with those two things together, I didn't want to pitch it back too much because then we might start bouncing those mowers. But if you cut that sorghum too low, it won't regrow, and I'm a little concerned we might have some of that anyways, especially where the tractor drives in those tracks. I think we're probably not going to see much sorghum come back there. We saw that last year too, in particular in the tire tracks, that sorghum barely came back, and even in the rest of the field it was spotty. It's definitely first cutting is more sorghum sedan grass, second cutting is more ryegrass, and I would imagine if we plan to get a third cutting later in the fall, that's going to be probably almost all ryegrass, because that's more of a cool season crop, where the sorghum sedan grass is a warm season crop. But it's about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and they're still dew on these plants down below. So I think it might take a little time for it to dry. We don't really have too warm of temperatures this week, but there's going to be a lot of feed here, it looks like. Hopefully we've got some quality, but we'll see. Pull a sample when we're chopping it and see what it looks like. Plan was to maybe chop Monday. It's Saturday today, but I think we'll see how it looks tomorrow, but I bet it's probably going to be Tuesday by the time we can realistically chop this, but we'll see. Time will tell. This wind will help if we can get it off, get some sun on it and some wind. I think I'll put my drone up in the air. We'll do some filming of the mowing. I think maybe we'll end the video there. Otherwise we're going to get quite long, but we'll put the drone footage in here. Back on the north side of the field here now, but I wanted to show you guys, I don't know how well you can see it, but there's water right there. And from here to the cornfield, I don't know, a couple 100 feet, 400 feet, maybe 300 feet. Over there we were working on that water pond, which has kind of been on hold the last couple weeks. Just been pumping water here for about a week straight, seems like. But we're gonna leave this area here because it's wet. There's not a lot of material there to begin with. So I just didn't want to mess around with it. We're just gonna leave it. Maybe we can get it next cutting. It's not that much anyways. I mean, 4 or 5 acres maybe. It looks not too bad here. I mean, there's a lot of mass here. You might be able to tell on the drone footage, I started cutting at a little bit of an angle. I had read that if you cut a grass crop or the sorghum crop at a little bit of an angle with how it's seeded, that a merger can pick it up a little bit better. Not sure if there's anything to that, but I thought it was worth a try to see how it gets picked up. What can happen is if you're following the rows, some of the stalks or the leaves of grass can fall in between and all the way on the ground, and then you have trouble picking it up. If you go at an angle a little bit, it's supposed to stay up off the ground a little better. I don't know if there's anything to it, but we'll see how it goes. But I think we'll end the video here. Appreciate you guys watching. If you got questions, comments, post them down below. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one.